You know where you are?
This is Appetite for Distortion.
Welcome to the podcast, Appetite for Distortion, episode number 413. My name is Brando. We welcome Dane. Or you just go by Dane, like Axel and Slash?
Just go by Dane. I started like on the internet and stuff when I was like really young, so I'm always wary of like the last name thing because like I don't want people to obviously find out where I am. So just one name for me.
Okay. And really young. You just told me you were 19.
19. Yep.
So what's a really young man? I was just joking with Dane, and I love the fact that I have listeners of all genders and age gap, but and I'm glad it's not just all old, 50-year-old dudes listening to me, that I got some of the young ones. So I'm glad my sense of humor is hitting that. So I appreciate it. So what Dane did is I put it out there. And many of you have done this, whether you hit me up via Twitter, X Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. You decided to email me, the afdshow@gmail.com. And you're like, hey, I'm going to Hershey Park. I would love to do a review. And I said, let's do this. I appreciate you reaching out. Now that I'm a little familiar with Hershey Park, because I went, was it last year or 2 years?
2021, right? Was that when Mammoth opened for him?
Yeah. I had this conversation recently. It's like everything post 2020 is
it feels like the same year.
It's the same day over and over again, even though things are, but whatever.
Especially when you've seen the same band. Like I'm a huge fan of the Struts and I see them like every year. So it's like, it's hard to remember like when certain times were and like what concert was which. And I've only seen Guns N' Roses twice, so it's not like that for me yet. But but for certain bands, it's like you got to remember which time was where and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool. You've seen the Struts. They must be great live if you've seen them that often.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah, they're awesome.
Have they opened up for GNR ever? Why am
I think they have. 2017 maybe. It was early. It was when they were playing. It was when GNR. I think it was in the Midwest somewhere, if I remember correctly. But I think they did. Maybe it was overseas, but I think they did somewhere.
Yeah, they always get great openers like Dirty Honey or Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown. And
I was really hoping that Dirty Honey would open up for them at Hershey, but we got the Pretenders, which was good.
Well, and we'll talk about that because I'm putting this out. I think either the day we're recording this or the following day, but I'm going Tuesday to New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, where I saw Metallica a couple weeks ago, and I've never seen the Pretenders, so we're going to talk about that. However, we need to talk about the most current news, shotgun news happening, which you didn't even know about it as you signed on. And I guess posted, I don't know if you call it a meme or just using a couple pictures and trying to make a joke. A picture of Axel going to sleep. I think it was from the November Rain video. Saturday night. My plans for perhaps are good and safe. And then it's a picture of Axel in the straight jacket from Welcome to the Jungle screaming, touch tunes. No. Yeah. So if you're not aware, and I thank every one of my listeners who DM'd me or tagged me in something that I knew what was going on every time I woke up in the middle of the night, whether it was from Baby Brownstone needing a bottle or just, I knew what was going on, but I needed to have my brain working before I got into the conversation. So I'm going to read this actually off Blabbermouth. They certainly weren't the first ones to report it. If you go on, my GNR forum is the head of everything. That's where all the fans converge, and I try to be when I'm not sleeping. So the new Guns N' Roses single, Perhaps, has apparently leaked. It is not out. It is not technically available yet. But if you go to your local bar and you go to Touch Tunes, which is the digital jukebox nowadays, back in the day, it wasn't even my day necessarily, Dane. So I'm not going to pretend I'm older than I am. But the jukebox would have records in there that would always be in there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as technology advances, they have, it's like an iPod, and then now you can digitally send something new, and things could be updated. So it didn't happen with the leaked link, right? Did you remember that link that came out that went to their webpage, and it was a perhaps saying
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
coming
with
out August
the
11th.
yep, and then it was the 8 ball thing, and yep, I
Uh-huh.
do remember that. Yep.
So, and I tweeted or X'd yesterday that poorly aged things by a
Yeah.
day because nothing happened. And let me just say, I don't necessarily blame any like GNR for that because I just don't think we were meant to see that link.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
I
things are
think
gonna leak. It's not the band's fault.
so. It's just, and this is where it kind of bleeds into the let's just call them a fanatic. I know it's short, it's fans for sure, but let's give the whole word the fanatics that are constantly checking these links to see when they're active.
Yeah.
But you got to be aware of that there are fans like that out there. So the same thing I'm assuming happened with touch tunes. So maybe the plan was originally August 11th. They had these things ready to go, and all the digital, all the streaming ready to, someone's got to
Mhm.
press the button to make it all active. But I guess it was not taken down off touch tunes.
Yeah.
So to continue the Blabbermouth article, a number of GNR fans have reported that the shelved Chinese Democracy era song, which was originally expected to be released this past Friday, August 11th, populated on TouchTunes machines at bars and other locations across the United States. As fans showed up at their favorite watering hole and went to play a GNR song, they noticed a new section or selection in their catalog. The track came with what was apparently an official single cover art and was attributed to Geffen Records, which was the band's longtime record label owned by Universal Music Group. So this is not the first time that there have been reports of songs prematurely appearing on Touch Tunes. Back in April, there was a country band that had this issue, and the link goes on, but it just goes to what we've spoken about, that there was a pre-save perhaps on Spotify and Apple Music, briefly shared by Universal Music, but that was taken down. So there is a leak. It was sent to my inbox, but it's not a real leak. It's back in the days of Chinese Democracy where it's,
The
Mike
demo.
Piazza recording it off his boombox or whatever. So somebody in a bar, I just listened to this morning once. Somebody in a bar, you hear, glasses being clinked, you hear people chattering in the background, and a full perhaps. It was like
Wow.
3 minutes and 20 something seconds long. So what are your thoughts though about that, Dane? For someone who didn't know about any of this until just now, let me know what are your thoughts? Because you were
Um,
hoping to maybe hear it when at Hershey Park, but obviously that didn't
I
happen.
was definitely hoping to hear it at Hershey Park. But I mean, I kind of like leaks almost. I like getting things early. I like getting things exclusively. It kind of and I mean, it kind of sucks for the band for things to get leaked. But as a fan, I like when this kind of stuff happens, selfishly. But I like perhaps a lot. I've heard the demo from back in the day as well, and it's a good song. It really is. I haven't I only heard it like maybe twice, so I don't really like have much to say on it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's cool. It's a cool song. It's definitely better than Absurd. I hate that song.
That song, I don't know why, and I've explained this because the first time I heard Silkworms, the live version, I said this is
Uh,
the worst song I've ever heard them do, worse
I
than
agree.
My World. But so that was just during an experimental phase, and I don't know what when it hit the actual studio version, there was something about it I liked, and watching them perform it live, I liked it. Like I just I it's a weird song to pick as their comeback song.
Yeah.
And I've heard this, and you know what? I may attach myself to this fan theory. Because we all have fan theories, and I have mine. I certainly don't know anybody on the inside. But my theory, well, there's a lot of theories going along with all of this. My theory is with like perhaps they're gonna start like with Absurd. and Hard School, perhaps, and there might be the General and maybe a couple more that they're still under contract. And I think please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments or email me and I'll correct it on the next episode. I think they have some agreement with Geffen because of Chinese democracy that their whatever they put out until next year is Geffen's going to get a piece of that. So I'm wondering if Axl doesn't want that. He doesn't like the most recent contract he signed. So I'm wondering if Absurd was a huge FU to the record companies, being like, this is the most absurd song we got, not released. Here's what you get. We're saving the good stuff for later. So that's a fan theory I kind of like, which these why all these songs are so few and far between. Why there are leaks of these songs. So that's just a fan theory. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw that. I'm like, what? That kind of makes sense, because why else are you going to put out Absurd?
Yeah.
Whether you like it or you hate it as your first single with Slash, that's just a weird, again, that's a conversation we love having.
It was very strange. And I heard Absurd for the first time on Friday, and it's better live.
Okay.
But still, I think it's the worst song they've ever made. I mean, I still don't not worst song that Guns N' Roses have ever written. I still don't really like it.
Okay. And I'm not here to convince you otherwise. But it's you did say what a lot of people say is it's a song better live.
Yes. I think every song is probably better live. There's just something about, except if a band is pre-recorded backing tracks, which Guns N' Roses aren't doing. But if it's something like that, then obviously it's not going to be. But if it's 100% live band, I think every song is going to be better live, just because the energy of, four guys playing is not unlike anything else, really, in my opinion.
We're going to talk about, again, your live experience. But I just want to say this with perhaps, and I love how it's, by next episode, who knows what's going to happen, because now that it's out, are they going to play this Tuesday, when I'm there? Are they going to wait until Friday? Because a website I really like on X or Twitter, All Cautions, always for every show tweets along with the set list and what songs are playing. So if you can't attend the show, they're always posting. If somebody's doing a live stream from their Facebook or Instagram, they're always sharing that, giving proper credit. But they went to a website for perhaps, and it looks like either and forgive me my ignorance, it might be a Chinese website or some Asian website, because it's just the caricatures, and it's my ignorance that doesn't know the difference. It says perhaps is supposed to come out, will be released August 18th. So now things being moved back to the 18th. Perhaps. Perhaps this band is absurd. That's it got us talking, right, Dane? I mean, if anything, it got us talking. Things are happening. So this was your second time seeing GNR. When was your first?
2017 in Philadelphia, Wells Fargo Center, which was an interesting show, because that was the first since they've been back since the riot. So that was an interesting storyline for that show.
So let me backtrack a couple things. Where are you from?
So I'm from a small town that's about an hour away from Hershey. So not too far away, about an hour and a half from Philly. So I hit a lot of those Philly, Hershey, York, Harrisburg kind of shows. But what's weird is that Guns N' Roses come to Philadelphia and Hershey a lot, and I just haven't been able to get to all of them.
Okay. Well, it's two is good. It's funny that I've been seeing a lot of comments on this recent leg that people are seeing Guns N' Roses for the first time.
Yeah.
Still seeing them for the first time. So when people say all they do is tour, well, I think it's great that, quote, all they do is tour, because there are people who've never seen them, that have been waiting 30 years. I waited until 2016. I waited my entire life. So since you're 19, and something I've spoken about throughout my time on this podcast is when people found Guns N' Roses and how they found them. Because I was only 4 when Appetite came out. So I've given my story how I found them, like in high school and through older friends and classic rock, through listening to, my dad having it on in the radio. So how did you find being 19-year-old Guns N' Roses fan? Do you have older siblings, parents,
No, my
friends? Like,
my parents really introduced me to a lot of rock music when I was young. So I don't really remember a lot of like the only bands that I really remember when I was first like introduced to them when I was really young is Queen, because that was the first rock band I was ever introduced to, and then Kiss, that was the second, and then after that it's really a blur. I think probably just Guns N' Roses, probably hearing Welcome to the Jungle on probably some movie or radio or something. I was a huge fan when I was really young, when I was like 10, when I really got into playing drums. I became a huge Steven Adler fan. And then from that, just they quickly got back together 2 years later. So I think the reunion is what kind of sparked my fandom, really becoming a huge Guns N' Roses fan.
yeah, I could see that. Yeah, it really helped elevate
Yeah.
them to a whole new generation. It
Yeah.
really did because they were broken up when I really became a fan already. And if you're talking about a band that's been broken up for 30 plus years already, I think at some point you're gonna lose the fan base, or you're not
Hmm.
gonna gain anybody new, especially since how it kind of ended poorly. But now they're rewriting their story.
Yeah.
But to be in the same it'd be within the same book, but a different story. It's just like another Guns N' Roses thing. How does this song get leaked, at bars? And it's
Yeah.
just it's so funny. So I know, obviously, spoiler alert, you didn't see perhaps live.
Unfortunately.
So when you went, and if they go to Hershey Park again, I got to go to actually Hershey Park first, and then go to the Hershey Stadium. I mean, I've been to Hershey Park like when I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
but I'd love to do that, eat a lot of chocolate, and then go to a GNR show. That's my idea of a good time. Did you go with friends? Like, did you go solo?
Well, I just went with me and my dad.
Cool.
We went up together. I was gonna go with friends, but we the tickets were expensive because the Hershey Stadium is a smaller stadium than normal.
Yeah.
It's probably what is equivalent to an arena in any bigger city. So it's not really a stadium, it's just called a stadium. Um, so the tickets were more expensive than like the MetLife show.
Hmm.
Um, so some of my buddies were like, we're gonna skip this one. And I was like, all right, I'm still gonna go. So I bought tickets the day of, off of SeatGeek, got them
Hmm.
for about, I think the base price for where we were sitting was about 70 or so. I got them about $30 cheaper. Um, but the fees made up for that.
Yeah, that'll happen.
So pretty much, what looked like a good deal was pretty much the same price, but what are you gonna do?
Okay,
um,
then I don't feel that bad because I bought
yeah,
my seats like as when they went on sale. I'm still in that mode.
yeah,
And I hear they're still trying to sell out. It hasn't sold out.
yeah, it will, yeah. What's listed as a, like, the rear GA is selling for $30, let's say, and then there's like
Okay.
$25 fees onto it for each of the ticket. It's like, come on, man. Like, where does that go to? Like,
I'm sure it's going to a great cause. I'm sure Ticketmaster is using it
probably.
to. No, it's hopefully. I mean, this has been a topic of conversation for so long. I think the Cure did something like fighting back
Yeah,
recently. At some point, it's gotta.
it's gotta stop, and it probably will. Um,
Well, I like what it's kind of going around it is what Metallica did is that they had kid prices.
yeah,
Not that you would have went under kid prices, but I think it was like under like 12 or something. So I think
that's cool.
that's cool.
The Metallica prices were really good too. I didn't go, um, but I was thinking about it because the prices were really good. Wasn't that bad for a floor seat considering where you would be. It's like in the round stage, so it was
Yeah.
like what, 200 for two shows, right? Something like that. And it's like not terrible.
No, it's a
Considering
summer.
what you're getting. Yeah, summer show too. There's a free band in the parking lot for both nights as well, I think.
I still can't believe how I didn't know that. until like the day of.
Oh, really?
I
Oh,
just
it
said
wasn't publicized that much.
I
I
know,
don't
and
think,
that's
which was
lame. I
weird.
would have loved to have seen Overkill. I mean, I've had Bobby on this show, and it's I just thought, you know, no slight to Wolfgang Van Halen. I've just seen him 1.5 times because with Guns, saw him a full set, loved him.
Hmm.
Second time, I remember I waited in line for a lithograph, and while missing Wolf, I'm like, oh, I've already seen him. And
Hmm.
now, like third time, I'm like, all right, I just want to make sure I get to see Pantera.
Yeah.
But I don't know, whatever. I had like, why would that not be publicized? That's just lame.
Yeah, it
But
is. It is.
where were your seats for this show?
They were in section 30, I believe, which is kind of in the middle of the grandstand. Um, but not really. It's on the edge of the middle, I guess. They were good seats. Um, so section 30 is on the right grandstand. So they were good seats, good view of the crowd, which was fun in between bands. Watching like 200 people waiting in merch line.
Yeah, I did you get any did you
I
do that before or
did.
after? Okay.
I got the lithograph, the special Hershey one.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, you can leave that. Are you gonna unroll it? You
I
know if
will. I will.
okay.
I'm gonna put this up anyway, so here quickly for visual listeners.
Sure, I appreciate it. Yeah. So if you haven't seen it yet, because I've seen some criticism of that. And my boy Arian Bueller, who did that design, it's a takeoff good and plenty.
Yeah, I
It's
thought it
just
was cool. I thought it was cool.
however, it is I think it is cool. And there's a few reasons. Well, there's one main reason why it's cool is that if you look at the bottom,
The names.
it has every name, not just Axel, Slash, and Duff. But guess what? They finally acknowledged that
Mhm.
Melissa is part of the band. Like on something official.
Yeah.
Melissa's there. Dizzy is there. I think he's earned it. So it's like the entire Guns N' Roses current lineup is listed by name on there. But shout out to Brian Raleigh, who, I'm a stickler too for correct grammar in the Guns N' Roses world.
Uh,
So if you spell Axel with an E, I want to punch you. If you say Guns and Roses, I just don't take you seriously.
yeah.
The apostrophe, I know we've seen it. It's primarily after the N. That's where it should be. However, I've seen old flyers with it being on both sides. It's changed. How this one, there's an N before an apostrophe before the N. However, for the gun, like the good and plenty part, it has it after. So I don't know. There's an apostrophe gate going on with that. Maybe it's so, but I think it's a cool poster.
I think so too. I think most of them are. Most of the tour the show posters I think are really cool. Um and it's a $50 poster. I
I
mean,
know.
it's a lot of money, but I thought the names were really cool. I thought it was cool to finally acknowledge everybody in the band, not just Axel and Duff and Slash. So that was part of the selling point for me.
Sure. And while it's an expensive poster, I would encourage anybody if you're just to buy one once, because it's everyone is unique.
Yeah.
It's made well. It's not like it's some flimsy poster you would buy in Hot Topic. It's made
Hmm.
well. It's meant
It's
to
a
be
nice
framed.
poster. Hmm.
And if you wait and you're going to decide to buy this aftermarket on eBay, you're going to be paying hundreds of dollars.
A lot of money. Yeah.
So the $50 is pretty cheap when you look at the aftermarket
Yeah.
kind of. And I'm lucky, thank you again to Eric Peacher who bought me the Fargo one behind me. And Arian Bueller, the man himself, sent me the one from Hawaii. Neither of which I've been to. But on the wall that I'm facing that you can't see, there's one from MSG when they did 3 nights and they were all gangs of New York style. And I got
Yeah.
the Duff one. That's when Pink came out and sang Patience. And I did not get the one there was a few I didn't get, but I made sure that I got one when I was physically there.
Mhm.
And thanks to just the show and meeting some cool people, I got a couple other ones, and we'll see. I'm curious what they make up for MetLife Stadium. So no, it is very cool. And as far as merch, it's very cool. I like when fans post pictures of the merch ahead of time, so I know
Mhm.
what I'm getting into. There are a pair of really cool like yellow shorts, which kind of sounds like a weird sentence, but they're
Yeah.
kind of cool, like mustard looking with the logo. but they're like $65.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay $65 for shorts.
Yeah. Yeah. For the merch, if anyone goes to a Hershey Stadium show, just any show in general, especially for Guns N' Roses, the merch is on like the GA floor pretty much in the very back. So a lot of people go to that one because it's you can hear the band while buying them. There's a merch stand under section 1 of the grandstand on the left side that gets significantly less amount of people there. So either during the band or between the bands, go to that one for less people, because I went there when everyone was at the main one, like 200 people or so, I would say. I went over to the other one. There was like 5 people in line.
I would that's a great point because
yeah,
it does,
less, significantly less amount of people over at the other one.
it's true because they'll usually have, whether it's Hershey or other arenas, they'll have merch, of course, right up at front, and that's what people see and they want to go before things get sold out. But you might want to wait to get to your seats because there might be another merch thing right there.
Yeah.
Now, I understand not every setup has everything, which I guess is a game you're playing.
This one actually had both. This one had the same stuff, and they had all the flags, they had all the GNR merch, they had the Pretenders merch there, they had the lithographs obviously there. So it was duplicates of the merchandise stands.
Okay, that's
so
cool.
The other one was worth the walk over.
And I'll say this, GNR, because I haven't seen Metallica merch in a while. Merch for GNR is so much better. I mean, it's more expensive, but I found Metallica's merch to be boring, honestly. Like everything was in the vein of the new album, the yellow and black.
Yeah.
And which is kind of cool, but when it's everything, that's kind of your only choice. I may look aftermarket just to see how much it is, but I should have gotten a Pantera shirt, but I didn't want to. I arrived halfway through Pantera. I didn't want to. Then everybody was going after Pantera before Metallica. I didn't want to miss anything, so I'm like, let me miss out on the merch. But yeah, when you're going, and this is a question I always ask because merch is a huge deal in the rock world and the GNR world. So like, how do you plan the best way to do it? So yeah, use Dane's advice, and not always go to the first one. Yeah, because you may be waiting for a long time and miss stuff. So look around, especially if you're with more than one person, kind of have somebody else do recon somewhere else where you wait in line.
Yeah.
So when you went with your dad, which is great. Anything when was the last time your dad went? Also 2017, whenever you guys went?
2021. He went to that show.
Okay.
And he got those tickets from a buddy, so that's why I couldn't go. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All right, I won't judge his parenting skills.
Yeah, no, that one wasn't his fault. He got tickets from a buddy that had to give away another one, and he only had one to give away, so he was like, "Sorry."
Oh, all right, I understand that. So, what were you looking forward to, other than perhaps which did not happen? What were you looking forward to most, or just the show overall?
Kind of just the show overall. I was looking forward to hearing Civil War. Because since 2017, that has become probably my favorite Guns N' Roses song. I was looking forward to hearing Absurd and Hard School. Bad Obsession, because that hasn't been played forever. Reckless Life. I've heard Adler do that live, but not Guns N' Roses. They played Madagascar again, which was cool.
Yeah, tour debut, right?
Yeah, very cool. I saw them play that in 2017, but I honestly didn't know what it was. I didn't know the song because I'm not very familiar with Chinese Democracy. I'll be honest, some of the songs on there, the ones that they like haven't played live, I'm not real familiar. I don't go back to that album very often.
Okay.
But I mean, Madagascar is a great song. So I was very excited when they played that one. Everyone else around me wasn't.
That's something I always talk about on this podcast and on the social media. We're always talking about new. And Chinese Democracy still to so many people is new, and they haven't given it really a chance because it wasn't Slash on it, and they're not familiar. And I was going to tell you, I recommend you go back and watch. Some people think it was great. Some people think it was terrible. But when they when Axel came back in 2002 at the MTV Movie Awards, and then he did Welcome to the Jungle, Madagascar, and then Paradise City. And when he played Madagascar, I'm like, what is this? I had never heard that before. So yeah, it's just funny that that song is now, he's been playing it for over 20 years, and not everyone is familiar with that.
Yeah.
But I still think it's pretty cool to see Slash and Duff play on these songs that that were made during an era where they weren't talking or hated each other, or however you want to say. So I think that is it is pretty cool. I still want to see another Velvet Revolver song played. They keep switching around Chinese Democracy songs. Let's switch up the Velvet. Let's do that.
And put Photo Pieces in there or something. That'll be awesome.
Yeah. How was the crowd? Do you see? Was it sold out or was it close to?
It was close. It was very close. I don't know. Maybe I think Hershey. I looked this up. I think it said Hershey Stadium holds 30,000. There was probably 25,000, 20,000 something people there. So close to a sellout. It was so funny because a lot of people around me, I could tell, were not. The people right beside me were there for the hits.
Yeah.
And it's 3 hour long concert, so it's not going to be every song is going to be what they know. So they played Madagascar, and then I forget what they did afterwards. But then after that song, they did Knocking on Heaven's Door, and the dude next to me, he was with his wife, and he was pretty loud, so I can hear him go. He kind of whispered to his wife. He goes, "Now this is what I'm talking about." He stands up, get out his phone, and starts recording. I'm kind of like, come on, man, like, like you just heard like they haven't played Madagascar in the whole tour. Like, come on.
See, I always say to people, watch the reaction when Sweet Child of Mine comes up.
Yeah.
People lose their minds. Like it just
that was
came
cool.
out.
That was really cool.
Right?
Because
is that what happened?
Yeah, because they do the guitar solo, and then he starts like quietly noodling, and then he stops, and then he starts in the riff, and everyone gets up and everyone starts cheering. That was really awesome.
I would recommend for that, for us diehards that are so sick of some of the songs. And this really, for me, I'm not really sick of any of them, other than maybe because I've worked in radio and it's the songs that are played on radio so often. Like Live and Let Die and Knock on Heaven's Door. I don't hate them, but I don't need to hear them. But what you just said is exactly why they need to be played. Yes. So if it's not your favorite song, to us GNR nerds, look around. That's I think the moment that you really want to experience, not just the band playing it, but just look at all the other gunners, the other that may not be as diehard as we are, but they love the band, they love the hits. So definitely do that. Oh, it's a cat. Oh yeah, you. My wife who knows only the hits. Although you sing absurd.
Because there's like 5 lyrics in that song that are just repeated over and over. It's very easy to memorize.
I know, but I thought that would be offensive to women. But it seems
I'm surprised they even played it at Hershey because the park is right there. I would think that would bleed over the amount of time that Axel said the F word in that.
He doesn't care at all. Oh, and this is also how much my nerddom has bled over into my life. I was watching Baby Brownstone at home, and she was out at work. And I said, "You coming home soon?" She's like, "I don't know if soon is the word." Oh, thanks. I deserve that, I guess.
Yeah.
And so that's the same thing with perhaps, I don't know if soon is the word. Well, it's going to be interesting. Every day, is Axel going to acknowledge it live that the song is now, if you go to your local watering hole, that it's going to be played?
Yeah. Well, he didn't say anything about it in Hershey. There was nothing. It was interesting because Axel was very, I mean, I've only seen him twice now, and he wasn't like this in 2017. He was very open with the crowd. Like he was much more doing kind of like the stage raps in between the song. There were a group of people like jumping up and down during the songs, and he would like point at them and jump as well. And it was just interesting that how his performance has changed. It just seems like he's much more happy on stage more than I would say more than ever now.
I would agree. A lot of fans agree. And by the way, after Madagascar, so maybe that guy next to you was really suffering, even though I would have been happy. Madagascar, Wichita lineman,
Oh, that's right.
and
Yeah,
then knocking on heaven's door.
that's right.
So,
Right.
and again, I need to say that Wichita lineman rules, and I hope they release a recorded version. And by the way,
Yes,
let
it
me
is
know what you
good
think
news.
about this fan theory that I have. I think that they're going to release, absurd, hard school, perhaps things of that nature. And then when they're done touring this time around, they're going to get together. They're going to come out with maybe maybe four or five, six, like new songs, or just, and they're going to come out with an album with all of it on there. Because you really can't. I mean, you could buy a physical copy of just Hard School or that Hard School
Hmm.
EP, but they're not on an album. So I can see
Yeah.
Wichita Lineman, a recorded version of that, and songs that are out there now, like Hard School, Absurd, perhaps
Mm.
eventually will be finished. But much like how GNR Lies was, how it was Uzi Suicide, but now we
Mhm.
have these new songs on there too. So now that's going to give you a reason to buy it. That's my fan theory.
I could definitely see something like that happening. I think that picture of Slash and Axel in the studio was probably at Slash recording, perhaps, or the general. Um, you know, these songs that are from Chinese Democracy that he's going in and playing on. It's probably from that. I don't think we're gonna get a new album. I think there's too much money on the line to for touring. They don't want to go in there and just like last time, everyone's ego, you know, they want their song on the record. They want their song on the record. It falling apart. I think there's too much on the line for something like that to happen. You know what I mean?
I do. And that's
Um,
why with the continued fan theory I have is because Slash said that this is going to be the end of touring for a while. And that's why he's going to do
yeah,
the blues album.
just doing the
He's going to tour
conspirators
again
again. Yeah.
with Miles. Exactly. So I think that's the time they're going to use. However, that being said, in my fan fiction brain, playing these scenarios out, I think Axel just wanted to focus on touring and rekindling friendships and just
Mm-hmm.
having a good time. And not to say the other guys wanted that too, but they probably said, you know what were you working on? What we let's add some stuff to that, and nothing too stressful. Like Axel, your parts are over. You don't need to worry about anything. We will add to it. We'll see what you like, what you don't like, and then we'll go from there. That's my fan theory with no proof to it, but that's just
Yeah.
from trying to, read the room. That's my guess because he is so happy, and making an album is stressful. It is very stressful, and I go back to what Doug Goldstein has told me, what the reason why Chinese Democracy took so long, and he's like, and assuming he knows everything, he said no other reason than it was just Axel. It used to be five guys, all the
Mm-hmm.
pressure was on him, and it was too much. And it could be the same thing in a way now that there's just a lot of pressure to make a new Guns N' Roses record with Slash, how it's going to
Yes.
sound. But that being said, I mean, look at what Metallica does, man. I mean, they're still fans being like, "This isn't Master of Puppets. This
Yeah.
isn't, Ride the Lightning," and they still make good music.
Yeah, I think 72 seasons is very good.
Every record, they don't have to be your favorite, but
And Hardwired is awesome too. So stuff
yeah,
on and stuff on there's some stuff on Death Magnetic that I like as well.
I was about to say that. So Death Magnetic, when I went to go see them, they played The Day That Never Comes. Like, yes, this is awesome. And then of course Seek and Destroy of Kill 'Em All and everything. So
Mhm.
GNR could do the same, but they're not like every other band. But so I mean, yeah, people can laugh at my theory. They're never
Yeah.
gonna release an album.
I think your theory of them putting out an EP makes a lot more sense than them putting out a record because they don't have to do anything. They don't. I mean, they do to record it obviously, but they just have to go in. There's no writing of songs because I think the writing of songs is what they're afraid of because that's what kind of destroyed them in the first place, and they don't obviously don't want that to happen again. Um, but the
Yeah,
EP could be a fantastic idea. They could put TVI in there, or I Want to Be Your Dog, have Duff sing that one, Wichita
but
Lineman.
But
couple covers.
For the record, I really prefer "I Want to Be Your Dog" over TBI. I mean, not that I dislike it.
I do
It's
too.
just it's I don't dislike TBI, but I mean, "I Want to Be Your Dog" just, I don't know, fit GNR better. And I don't know, Duff. I mean, I know you love Iggy Pop. We all love Iggy.
It didn't go TVI did not go down well with
People don't
anyone in that stadium.
people don't know.
I didn't
People
know it. I didn't know it at all before it came in the set. I still don't know. I don't even know who it's originally by. Like
well,
off the top of my head.
TBI.
Yeah.
Oh, the Stooges. That's another Iggy
Oh,
song.
okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He went from one Iggy cover to another, and I know he loves Iggy. He's on there.
Yeah.
He's on both him and Slash are on Iggy's new album. But it's just interesting because he has attitude in there. He has So Fine. He has songs that he could sing. So why Iggy? Like maybe it's just a break for Axel that
Yeah.
during the show. But anyway, what were some of the highlights for you? Because there were songs that you mentioned that
There
you
were
wanted to see that you
yeah.
got to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really excited to see. I mean, anything goes. Did I mention anything goes? Um, I was very excited to see that because they haven't played that since the 80s, right? Before this tour.
Right before this tour, they hadn't
It's
played it since
86 or something.
I want to say '88, but yeah, it's been over 30 years.
Yeah, it's
It's
been
been
a
like
while.
yeah,
It's very excited to see that. Um, Honestly, probably the highlight of the show was I was very pleasantly surprised by Axel's voice because sometimes in live recording, like the last time he was at a Hershey, some of the videos are rough. I'll be honest. And like when he gets up in that higher register, like "Welcome to the Jungle" sounds terrible. Sorry if that's a controversial thing. Don't like how he sounds in "Welcome." Rocket Queen doesn't sound that great in Rocket Queen. Um, but when he's in the lower register, like Mr. Brownstone and Bad Obsession, he sounds really good. Sounds really good for a 61-year-old doing a 3-hour show. And like as the show progresses, like during the encore is iffy, but I think he sounded fine. I mean, compared to other times um that I've seen on YouTube.
yeah. I would tell people because there are clips that go around, and it annoys me. I see this a lot on TikTok. People comparing him to Herbert the pervert from Family Guy. That high pitch.
Yeah.
Look, he doesn't sound like that live. Like when you're really there. I've never gone to a GNR show and been like cringy. But
Yeah.
yeah, you watch some of these YouTube clips, these cell phone clips, and you can't help but I mean, I have ears.
Yeah.
They don't sound great, but I've never been to a GNR show and been disappointed, like ever. It's I know it's different. It's not the 90s. I never got to
Yeah.
see them back then. But yeah, I would not judge Axel or this band by YouTube clips or cell phone clips. Go by
He's
the actual
definitely
comments.
working on his vocals. It's definitely improved. Um Ever since 2017 even.
Yeah, I would love to know what he's going through vocally. I mean,
I
I
would
think
like
we
to
all
as
would.
well.
I know his long time. Shame on me forgetting the name of that long time vocal coach that he had for so many years. Passed away. I think it was like a year or so ago.
Mm.
And he's working with another one now. And
Ron Anderson.
thank you. See, I heard you typing away. That's
Yeah.
why I need a producer. But you're my interviewee and producer for this episode.
Okay.
So yeah, Ron Anderson, but yeah, it's the lower register. That's why I think it was a good move to go to Pretty Tied Up and Bad Obsession.
Mhm.
Those are lower register songs.
Yes. Yeah, I
And
did notice that there was a lot more lower register songs in the set, and it just made him sound better because he wasn't doing the appetite stuff where it's up here.
it's not a it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I have no idea what things go into vocally, what that does to your muscles and physically, and just I got to imagine it's tougher to do than
Mhm.
what Slash is doing. I got to imagine.
Yeah,
Slash
I would think
is
so as well.
right. I would have to, especially since Axel's still running around.
Yeah.
I
Oh
kept
yeah,
thinking,
it was I mean, throughout the show, he wasn't moving around as much. in the beginning, but by the end, he was running back and forth. It was like, wow, this is really cool.
I was thinking when I was watching Metallica, I'm like, would GNR do a stage like this in the round? I can just see Axel
It would be
going like
cool.
the road runner running
Yeah.
around, around, around. Maybe I don't know. That might be a cool stage for them. But yeah, I
It
would.
would be a cool stage for them.
So anything? I mean, you mentioned a couple highlights. Any banter that you particularly remember that happened?
Um, there was one where Axel was introducing the band and he like forgot to mention Slash. That was pretty funny. Um, there was one, I guess somebody down front was like yelling like Axel, Axel, and Axel in the mic. You know how there's a blackout in between all the songs,
Yeah.
and Axel goes in the mic, "Yes, can I help you?" And then they started the next song. There was one dude that was behind me yelling perhaps towards the end of the show. Towards the end of the show.
My man.
Um, yeah. Um, it was funny. The perhaps thing was so funny because I do believe it. If it came out on Friday, they would have played it on Friday. Um, and I don't know this for a fact, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was either on the alt set list or actually on the set list and they substituted with an alt. Um, but yeah, like whenever there was a blackout, especially in the middle of the show, I was like, this could be it. This could be it. This could be it. And I forget what song it was. It might have been before Live and Let Die or something. It was one of those before a piano. It was with I know it was with a piano because I heard a ding on the like classical piano. I was like, oh my God, this could be it. And then they went into another song. I'm like, darn
Oh.
it.
Well, that reminded me, and I was lucky enough because I've never gone to Baltimore to see a show, but I did when Hard School debuted. So, but
Mm,
I'm yelling at Hard School the entire time,
yeah.
and there are people around me like just like with even with Madagascar. What are you talking about? This guy have Tourette's, this
Yeah.
Hard School Tourette's, but no, man. And I'll yell perhaps on Tuesday. I'll be doing it. Um, so overall, it was I would say a great show. Would you want to go a third time, assuming they keep touring?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would. Yeah, that the band is so tight. The band is amazing. Um, I mean, they've been touring for, if I can do quick math, 7 years.
2016. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like they've been touring together for so long. I mean, 2017, it was only a year after when I first saw them, but now it was like, man, like Richard is getting a solo, Slash is getting 5 solos, which I wouldn't complain about. That was awesome. um, they did it wasn't a Jeff Beck song, but it was a band that he was in. I forget exactly what the band is called. I even forget what the name of the song is. But that was a cool kind of tribute. People Get Ready. They did it
Okay,
acoustically. The Impressions.
okay.
I think Jeff Beck in that? Maybe he wasn't.
Well, I knew
Um,
that they did Link Ray Rumble before. Welcome to the Jungle, that first power
yeah,
chord.
yeah. Yeah, but that was cool before Coma. Um, yeah, I was blown away that they did 3 hours because normally they do 3 hours, but you really don't believe that they're going to do 3 hours until
Until it's over.
until it's over. Yeah,
That was interesting about Metallica too, being like, "Oh, this is over?"
yeah,
Okay, because I've been so used to seeing GNR and remembering what a real concert is like and getting home somewhat on time.
yeah.
So that's cool, man. So you just got the lithograph. Did you buy any shirts? Any other mementos?
No, I was waiting. I wanted to get. I wanted to. The shirts are $50 as well. I was not gonna, as much as I would like to. I was not gonna drop $100 at the merch stand. Um,
I get it.
but I was looking for the people in the in the parking lot. You know, the t-shirt warriors
yeah.
in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
Okay. Okay.
If the t-shirt is $50. Didn't see any of them, but I did go on eBay. It's the same design that is significantly less amount of money on eBay. So unless you're somebody who wants the authentication of like getting it at the show, I mean, obviously that's a big thing, or having it officially licensed, I would say go in the parking lot and buy it for like $10 after the show. I mean, it's the same. It's the three skulls. It's probably the same design that they're gonna have in there. So,
Oh, hopefully it lasts in the wash. That's all I can tell you.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, the wash thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Doesn't shrink. But
yeah,
I hear
there's
you.
obviously advantages of getting it at the actual show officially
Sure.
licensed, but sometimes it's better to get it in the parking lot.
I completely understand. So I'm gonna see what it's gonna be like on Tuesday because I have plenty of Guns N' Roses shirts. We'll see. I always want to get something.
Yeah.
I always want to get something at Memento, but
Yeah,
yeah.
there was one, I forget exactly what the design was, but it was like a skull and it had like a top hat on, and it wasn't like the 2023 World Tour like poster or whatever, like the design of the actual tour, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, there's so many t-shirts that I forget what the other ones were, but
That's all right.
cool
Let me
ones.
ask before we wrap up. Um, I always ask this of fans that come on. Favorite? Well, I guess you answered it before. Civil War. Is that your
Probably
favorite
Civil War.
Guns N' Roses song? Yeah.
Probably Civil War. That or Rocket Queen, because I'm a drummer, and I said before I love Steven Adler, so it's kind of his song,
Okay. Okay. Uh,
especially in the breakdown of that song.
yeah. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. What about favorite piece of memorabilia? Is it the new lithograph or something else?
Mm, probably the new lithograph. Probably all the lithographs in general, because I love that kind of show specific things that you can't get anywhere else. For any band, but Guns N' Roses does that so well. They had the design on a shirt as well. So it's that kind of stuff that I really like. So probably the show specific designs.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
So if you are going to New Jersey, MetLife Stadium, and if you want to come say hi to me, you can. A shout out to Margaret Miller on X or Twitter or whatever. She was nice enough to ask if I was going to have a sign in the parking lot so we know who I am. I'm not going to have a sign. I'm not that important. And, whatever haters I have, I don't want to call attention to them. Although I'm very lucky.
Gonna have like a sandwich board kind of thing around your neck that has like photo $5, autograph 10.
Right, right. Yeah. I keep thinking of that inappropriate scene from Die Hard with a Vengeance. That's I'm not even gonna go there. If you know the movie, but
Are
that's
you going to be the t-shirt warrior in the parking lot selling a appetite for distortion shirts instead of Guns N' Roses shirts?
maybe one of these days I should. I know back in the day, when I was with Scotto, we had stickers made. And I remember when we went to MetLife Stadium, the first reunion show, we were handing out stickers. I got to make up new stickers or something like that. So no, I'm not gonna have a sign. She asks if I'm going live. I might do some live because I noticed when I was doing live stuff with Metallica, because of the reception, the Wi-Fi, everyone's on it. The video is a little choppy, as opposed to if I'm just gonna record it. So I don't know. I'll see what I want to do. I might do some live, some things recorded to post at the next day or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then she's like, hey, there'll be some tailgates. So maybe I can find you guys, whoever's out there tailgating, and I'll be easy to recognize, Dane, just so you know. Not a lot of people do know that I am handicapped. I wear leg braces and use a cane. I got my little handicap logo guy tattooed on the inside of my left bicep. So I have a neurological disability. I mean, now I'm around my apartment. I don't have my leg braces on now, but I'm usually holding on to something. I even have a walker here. But I've noticed the last few years just the amount of stress going to these big events and just wondering, am I going to get a handicap spot? Am I going to have to do a lot of walking all these, and this is why I buy my tickets early, so I make sure I get an ADA seating.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they could be sold out. And even when I went to Metallica, the handicap spaces gets quote sold out, it will fill up quickly. So there's a lot of anxiety that goes into it. In addition to the main fatigue I had is why I'm not going to go to too many festivals. Well, now that I have a wheelchair, uh, when I went to Austin City Limits a couple summers ago, and just the amount of walking is insane. And once I sat down for Guns N' Roses, and I just sat there the entire like bands before GNR was coming on. I spent the entire festival just like in my seat waiting for GNR, like in 7 hours or whatever. I didn't want to get up and see other bands because it was just too much. But now I had to go through the healthcare system. I got my wheelchair. I used it for Metallica. Things very easy, no stress. Kind of not worrying about things, especially because it was almost going to rain. And when things rain, I slip, all that shit. So you will look for the guy, the 30, Jesus, the near 40-year-old guy with a beard and tattoos in a wheelchair. So you will easily find me. If you want to come say hi, I'll be in section 111. I don't know what GNR shirt I'm going to wear. Yeah, I might wear my Chinese democracy shirt. I'll see. But I'll post and just come find me. Come say hi. I would love for that to happen. And if I was going to Hershey Park, if I went again, I would have sought you out and said hello because I really appreciate you reaching out and wanting to do this episode with me. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Before we wrap though, tell us about your little, I want to say little podcast, your podcast, because you have a cool setup. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, you have a very cool setup with your microphone. So what do you talk about other than Guns N' Roses?
So I talk about I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/c/big beautiful diz. I'm if you like theme parks, speaking of Hershey Park, this is actually a nice tie-in. I do historical videos about theme parks. So, everyone has their everyone has their fandom, of course, right? So that's another
cool.
passion of mine. So
like, do you go around visiting theme parks? Do you do your research online? Like
mostly it's just it's mostly just like Disney World, Disneyland, Universal kind of videos. I have traveled down there and done vlogs from there and stuff, but mostly I'll take like a ride and I'll tell the history of that ride. Most and like places and like stuff that is no longer there in the different locations and stuff like that. So kind of documentary style videos. It's the best way to describe it.
Hey, that's cool. I had to get my ass back to a theme park because I love roller coasters. However,
well, Hershey Park is your place then. They're known for their roller coasters.
Not the ones that spin around. The ones drops. Those I like. The spinners make me spin. And
yeah, that's understandable.
And because I've told this story and it will relate to GNR. When we were in Arizona a couple summers ago and I had never been. I had no idea about the terrain and I was not driving. So I'm in the back of the car and the car is like spinning all around all these curbs. And I got car sick and I threw up in front of Alan Niven when I met him. So I'm probably gonna have to take Dramamine next time I go to God. Enjoy your youth. Although when I was like 19, the Gravitron made me throw up.
Yeah, I don't do any carnival rides like that anymore.
Okay. So all right. Well, if you can, do some New York stuff. Go to look at Adventureland. That wooden roller coaster, that was my first roller coaster, scarred me for life because I remember banging my head and it just scarred me for years. It wouldn't go on. I'm jealous that my brother's got to go to King Ka at Six Flags in Jersey. Like it's supposed to be this really high drop, one of the highest drops. I don't know if in the country or whatever. But no, cool, man. Good stuff. I'm happy to talk about that with you. And if you happen to go to another GNR show, just keep us updated. I appreciate your review, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Oh, and get there early for Pretenders. They were really good as well.
Oh, I didn't ask about that. Yeah, thank you.
Chrissy Hines' voice is really good. She's 71. She was fantastic. And also, they get a decent amount of set time. I think they got an hour at Hershey, which is a decent. They go on at 6, so like 6 to 7, I think it was. It's a decent set time for an opener.
Okay. Coolio. I know we got our babysitter coming at 4:30, so hopefully we won't. The traffic is not as bad as it was for Metallica when we get there on time. What's supposed to take me like an hour, from Queens to Jersey, the deal. You get some of the same kind of traffic.
Yeah.
Don't these people know I have a GNR show to go to?
The traffic wasn't terrible. Well, the way we went back roads because I live close. So that wasn't terrible when we got up to Hershey. Traffic wasn't awful for Guns N' Roses.
Okay. I
But the
remember it being
main road was, but get closer to the venue, it wasn't awful.
I remember it being terrible once you got inside the premises and everybody was
Yes.
waiting to get
Yeah.
like the funnel into the right. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yeah, trying to get into when you get close enough to get into the complex,
Yeah.
then it gets terrible because everyone has to go one way around the Giant Center. So it's like,
Yeah.
you really got to maneuver your way around there. It's sometimes really bad. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. It is. So
Well, this is why
depends.
I love doing the reviews because I don't always have to go and deal with the traffic. I can take your
Yeah.
experience. So thank you. So if you want to be like Dane and you want to review an upcoming Guns N' Roses show, you can send me an email just like he did, the AFD show at gmail.com, or send me a DM on X, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. However, I've been seeing a lot of different requests. Let me just give a shout out because we'll see if I can get to it. Tad Prescott, Craig, he wants to do a review of Pittsburgh next Friday. And I would love to do it, but Baby Brownstone sometimes determines, well, because right now he's in the other room with my wife. So she's probably like, finish the episode already so you can take him. Yeah, right. So, and let me just say, too, in addition to looking out for my review of the jersey, I hear him crying. So, yeah, we'll end the episode soon. The review. Also, next guest, Brendan Small from Death Clock. Ever see Metalocalypse? Remember that show on Adult Swim?
Kind of.
It was one of those Adult Swim shows, Metalocalypse. It's all about a metal band. They talk about some inspiration even from Metallica, and you can tell that there was inspiration from Guns N' Roses in there too. It's a whole episode entitled "Snakes in Barrels." Snakes.
Oh yeah, I have seen this kind of. I've seen a couple episodes.
Sure. So we're going to talk to him. He's the creator and also the creator of a very classic Adult Swim episode or show rather, Home Movies, which was a classic as well. So we'll talk more about Metalocalypse and Death Clock and of course Guns N' Roses. So stick around for that, and of course the Jersey review. But as far as this episode is concerned, we're done. When are you going to hear those? In the words of Axl Rose concerning Chinese democracy, I don't know if soon is the word, but you'll see it.